Hi, I'm John Crossman, and welcome to What Does a Video Cost? In this segment, which we'll try to go through quickly, we're talking about pre-production, and specifically we're talking about scripting and location. As I've explained in previous videos, the three phases of video production is pre-production, production, and post-production. And in pre-production, it's another word for planning. And the more complex, the last video talked about scope, the more complex a project's going to be, the more money you will save in making sure that your pre-production is well thought out and well planned. I've had clients that I've asked, okay, well, where is the script for your video? And they go, well, we have a brochure, we'll just use that. No, that's not going to work. Although they both will share a lot of the same words, a brochure, of course, is written to be read. A script is written to be listened to. And so while the language may be similar and you'll use a lot of the same words, the way it's delivered has a different twist to it. And if you've ever seen someone's PowerPoint or listened to a video that sounds like a brochure, it's probably because they read the brochure instead of actually writing a script for the video. Scripting is important for video because it is a visual medium. Things that you would have to maybe explain in a brochure or in another form of writing, if you can see them, you don't have to describe it because your viewer will see that. As you look at some of these video samples that I cover up some of this with, you know, if the graphic shows the graphic, you don't have to go into detail saying, let's think of a triangle. They can see it's a triangle, right? So there is a difference in the writing that you need to be aware of and take notice of. It isn't something that you can't have. If you wrote your brochure, you could write the video script. You would collaborate hopefully with somebody like myself that has experience in it, and I can, you know, help you work through that and say, you know, this you don't need to say, this could be a lot fewer words. For example, one of my recent projects, there were many favorite phrases that the client had, and one of them was, if you add this and this, you get the direct sum of this. And I went, well, what is the difference between a direct sum and just a normal sum? Sum is, you know, 1 plus 1 equals 2. 2 is the sum. And he said, well, there is no difference. And I said, well, then let's take the word direct, because A, there is no visual way to show that it's different from a normal sum, and B, it just adds words, which adds complication, which adds another point for potential confusion of the person that's watching it when they go, I see a sum, but he said direct sum. What is the difference? You know, so trying to keep the scripts less wordy, less academic, maybe would be a good word to say. You want the video to be easy to understand the first time they listen. You don't want words in there that'll call the viewer to get distracted. And so all of these things have to be taken into account in a script. The second part of this segment is location. And whenever I get a project or someone that's interested in doing a video, I say, well, how many locations do you think you would need? And you know, it can vary from 1 to 100. Now, if you have 100 locations, it's going to be an expensive video, because in every location you're setting up the camera and the lights and the sound and probably coordinating people to be there at a specific time and place. And so the logistics of it just add to the cost and the complexity or the scope of the video. When you have a script written, even once you have an outline written, you can go through that and say, okay, well, this part and this part and this part can all be shot at this location. I'm currently working on a television series having to do with ghost towns, and so some ghost towns have a lot of buildings, some don't have much remaining at all. But the thing that drives the piece is the story of what happened to the people, you know, why they got there, what happened when they were there, and why they left, kind of thing. And so when I have a script written out, I go through it and I go, okay, well, you know, we've got X number of pages to cover. this topic's kind of related to that topic, so we can shoot that in the same place. We can do the next 3 in one location, then we skip, and so before we shoot, before we arrive on the scene, especially if I've been able to scout the location ahead of time, which is part of pre-production, I'll know that we have 4 or 5 places that we're going to get all of the narration. This show uses on-camera talent, which we'll talk about in the next video, and so knowing how many locations gives you an idea of how long it's going to take to shoot it, because many times a location equals 1 day. Even if you don't need the whole day to shoot it, you really can't shoot 2 locations that are very far apart from each other in 1 day. And so locations are good things to figure out, and that's something you would figure out once you really have enough of a script to know, what the different subjects are going to be. You add that into the scope, i.e. the cost. Is there any way to lower the number of locations, because that does impact the cost of the video. That's this segment for today. I'm John Crossman, and this is What Does a Video Cost? In our next video in this series, we'll talk about talent and crew and how that impacts the cost of the video. And then the video after that will be putting it all together with a budget. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.